Today's daily recap is for Monday, April the 7th, 2025 for BTG Beyond the Gates. Well, you know what, everybody? You want to know what I'm going to talk about first? Who I'm going to talk about first? I'm going to talk about Ted first. Ted. You see the persona and the attitude he has with Dana, although she deserves it because he's crazy. But that is he way too comfortable in that disrespectful talk or disrespecting tone, right? Because as far as he knows, the chick did what he said and had an abortion. But see, we haven't gotten into what she did or did not do to make him not want to. Although, no, he said it. He goes, okay, you know what? The other day he said, I was wrong for making you believe, or maybe it was today, making you believe I was going to leave Nicole for you. You know? So he did lead her to believe that, right? But here's the deal, you knew he was a married man, chick. You knew he was married. Hmm. You were a side piece. So, anyway, he followed her. She was walking home or walking in her front door with yet another wig. This woman has more wigs than, I mean, she got to have a whole closet full of wigs. She walking in with her groceries and her wig on, and he came walking right through that door behind her, and it startled her. She goes, what are you doing here?" Because see, Ava could have been home. Eva could have been home, but she just happened not to be. But there sure is a picture of her and Eva on that night coffee table. Okay, but of course, he didn't look down. It was staring him in the face. He didn't do it. So he goes, oh, started you, huh? You're used to creeping up on everybody, but you're not used to anybody creeping up on you. I followed you. Why would you do that? Why not? I saw you coming out of, he named what she was coming out of, and she followed her home. Okay. So he's saying some crap about her, pretty much she ain't nothing or whatever. And he ends up opening up the brown bag, and she's looking like, what is it? Well, it wasn't shaped like a gun. It wasn't big enough to have a gun. Well, there are small guns out there, but look, it wasn't big enough to have a soap opera gun in it because they all seem to be pretty big, right? He opened it up and it was all the cash she wanted. And he goes, "This is just the amount you asked for." And she looks at it, and then he kind of throws it down on the end table. Like, I'm not even going to dignify you with handing it to you. I'm going to throw it down there. You pick it up. Right. And she looks at him and she's saying something come back snazzy to him. And he said, you're going to take this money. He goes, because see, I really shouldn't even be paying you again. He's like, I should definitely not be paying you again. He says, I paid you enough the first time, handsomely, to leave. But here it is. Ever, never. He said, because you're going to hear from my lawyer. Again, you never going to speak to me again. And she goes, and if I don't? And he looked at her. He goes, then I'm gonna. And he was going to the end table. He was gonna go to pick up the money, and he would have seen the picture of her and Eva right there on that little table stand, end table, right? So she goes, Ted, and she like rushes to try to beat him where the money was, but really what she was doing was knocking over the picture. So she knocks over the picture. She grabs the money and she goes, no, no, no. Okay. I will leave then. She goes, because 50 G's, ain't nothing to turn away. So then she decides she's going to talk some more mess to Ted. But this time she's facing the door. Now, her apartment door was never closed. Ted didn't close it when he came in. So Eva was walking through the front door and Dana saw her. And Eva could hear Ted talking. And Ted was really talking down to Dana at this point. And Eva is looking and she's getting pissed, right? But Leslie, Dana slash Leslie, her eyes were like, look, go. Like, don't. So she's like, and she backs out and she goes around the corner. Well, Ted finished saying what he wanted to say and he left. So Eva comes back in and she says, why was he here? And she's like, Dana says, he followed me. She goes, he could have seen me. Okay, this is dangerous now. So she goes, no, don't worry. He's not coming back. Because he paid me enough hush money. And so she put the money in Eva's hands, and Eva's like, oh, ooh, she spreads it on the table. She goes, I've never seen this much money. Whoa. And she goes, and it's going to be so much more. And Eva says, you know what, Mom, maybe we should just take this money and maybe we should just go. And she's like, no, no, we got a plan and we sticking to it. We are going to destroy his family, blow up his marriage with his Princess Nicole. And then you're going to get your rightful place. And then, baby girl, you're going to have all the money you want. Now, see, this is truly spoken of by somebody that obviously doesn't have a grip on humans. See, I'm not talking about soap opera humans, but real humans. If you blow up somebody's whole life, ruin his reputation, although, you know what? This is 2025. Finding out he's got a grown child by a woman from 20, it really should be 30 years ago, right? But they messing up the ages. She should be 30 years old, Eva. That ain't breaking news. That does not erase all the great surgeries he's done, right? That's not going to blow him up professionally at all. At the only thing that might do is his wife might divorce him. But then they've been married for more than 30. Now, she ain't going to divorce him either. She going to leave him for a minute. Nicole, she going to leave him. But she's not going to divorce him. Right? And now that you've done all that, is Nicole and Ted, are they supposed to just welcome you with open arms? Because, see, no matter how great an assistant you turned into, you came in with a plan to destroy our family. Yeah, that was your plan. Now, months later, Ted would probably want a relationship with his daughter because he didn't know she was his daughter, didn't know she even existed. So months later, Ted might want a relationship with her. Nicole, too, because they're making Nicole with this big old heart. And what she's going to realize is you were a product of your mother's upbringing. And all this time, Dana told Eva, that Ted rejected them both when Ted didn't even know Eva existed. So Nicole, being a psychologist, will forgive Eva for what she's done, and Eva might even try to save the day at the anniversary party. Who knows, right? But Dana was feeding her a fantasy land. Wow. Okay. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. Now, earlier, Leslie had dinner with the gossipers, found out Laura was getting out the hospital. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. This is done in two clips. The first probably 10 minutes, not even 10, the first 7 minutes of this video, I recorded it last night, and then the power in our whole area went out. And we got notices it wasn't even coming back up till 12, even though it really came back up, I'd say around 10:30. But that was too late for me to even think about trying to finish this video, right? So if I said this part, that's because I didn't listen to the whole thing what I recorded last night just to pick up today. Um the gossip, the chick there in the black and white, since they don't have her, I think her name is Mona, maybe. If it ain't Mona, it should be Mona. I'm gonna call her Mona. Mona tells the ladies at the table that she had just came from the hospital visiting Laura, the one that uh, Leslie ran off the road, and she is doing so well. She's getting out of the hospital tomorrow, and she says, sorry, that she looks at Leslie. She goes, sorry, that means that Eva's going to be without a job. But Eva has done such a great job. And Leslie was sitting there like, oh, no, she. And then her you could see her eyes like, But no, listen, she knew this was temporary. And thank you for saying she did a good job. So, I'm so happy Laura's gotten better. Says, yeah. She just had a minor uh touch up on her surgery, and she'll be back to work soon. So, needless to say, you know what Leslie's doing down there. Now, as in all hospitals, right, that doesn't have an ounce of security on who their nurses are, that the badge is turned over versus every nurse has to have their badge turned forward, right? And not one person knows her. Now, granted, not every nurse knows each other, but usually that day they do, because when they start their shift, they're all together getting information on each patient from the previous shift, right? So they all look at each other. They all get their own little assignments. Well, this chick, who's she? And is she even wearing the right color scrubs? I don't know. But she miraculously is able to get some scrubs that fit the hospital. And a lot of hospital scrubs have the hospital name on them. A lot of them do. But not only that, everybody, she gets access to the meds. Or did she bring her own? And how did she do that? That's what I don't like about soap operas. Is not one DNA test is safe. Not one. And people just have the ability to sneak in that hospital and put on scrubs and get a hold of medication and just do that thing. So she's injecting Laura with something. And, normally I would say, but, not to kill her. But you know what? Leslie could care less if she kills her. She wanted her hurt pretty bad or dead in that accident. So whatever this is doing is going to set Laura's recovery back. We definitely all know that, right? That's going to happen. So we'll see what happens tomorrow with her on that. And then let's see, what else did we have going on? You know what? I get so sick and tired of Martin. How many of you are just, ugh, Martin? Martin, but before I go to Martin, this is Visit the Grands Day and the Great Grands Day. We have Samantha and Tyrell. They come to visit Vernon and Anita, and Tyrell plays a game of chess with his grandfather. Apparently, Tyrell's really good, really smart in chess, really good. So he pretty much mops Vernon up within 8 moves. That was so funny. And the granddaughter, Samantha, actually had come over to get some information. She has a school project. Let's see, she has a school project that her grandmother had some information, books on it, and was going to give her some pointers on it. So they go into the library, and Tyrell says, "Oh, Grandma, I would like a copy of that book too." So I guess Anita in her library just happens to have multiple copies of the same book. I mean, that's nice, but boy, would that take up a whole lot of space. Really? I'm like, okay, goodness, she got 3 copies of the same book. But okay, that was nice, Grandma. Um, so she and Samantha come back with the book, but they notice Samantha keeps looking at her phone, and they're like, Samantha, is everything okay? Because her notifications keep going off. And she goes, no, it's just a student government project. This is information on it. And so Vernon says, "Oh, you want me to help you with it?" She goes, "Nah, it's not that deep. Great grand, nah, it ain't that deep." So anyway, they chit chat and they leave. And then Martin, of course, he had another nightmare. I'm so sick of that. Him blowing off Smitty that he didn't know was in the house, talking mean to him. And then he goes by to see Anita and Vernon. And he's like, I'm having nightmares again. And they're like, about that night? Now, here's the thing, everybody. Isn't that interesting? In the house, they didn't give one detail about that night. Now they're in private. You would say, listen, I know being kidnapped, beaten, I know that was hard on you. I know what you're having you're having nightmares because you killed the guy. You would talk in more detail. And you're in the house. But no, what they would do is they would save the detailed talk for a public event, right? They at the fashion show that's getting ready to come up. And Vernon and Anita would say, Martin, I know, your secret of how you killed that guy is gonna come out. They will. Why is it they talk completely private stuff in public, and they're in private right now, and they acting like they got to talk in code? That's only because they want to keep us in the dark, because we don't know what he's done. But that's just ironic to me. 100% ironic. So anyway, and he said, no, it's just I'm just under a lot of pressures, It's the job, it's the teenagers, and he named something else, right? And so Vernon and Anita look at him and they said, and also it's you thinking about adding more stress to your life. And he looked at them. He goes, what do you mean? Uh, you running for president? You ain't seen stress, Martin. That's different. I can handle that. That made no sense to me, everybody. You're going to talk about the stress of being a congressman. It's stress. But running for president, running that kind of campaign, now that ain't no stress. And they just looked at him and he goes, it's different. I'm going to do it. As a matter of fact, he looks at his watch. He's indignant because Martin talked that way, indignant to everybody. As a matter of fact, it's time for me to go. I mean, no, it's about time for you two to have dinner. It's time for me to go. And they said, well, you want to join us for dinner? And he's like, no, I've got to get home. I have a family to get to. And I'm thinking, okay, oh, yikes. Well, watch your tone, slow your roll, you know? Because in a minute, you're going to get the Anita Dupree look. Who you think? What? You know, watch your tone, boy. So, or Vernon, Vernon get that look like, told you. So when he leaves, Anita says, Vernon, I could feel it. I could feel it. Almost like I could feel it in my bones. Ain't nothing good gonna come of this. Mm-hmm. No, nothing good is gonna come of it. And good. Let's let it all out because we want to know what the hothead did, and does his parents even know? Because if you notice, the only time I think that we've really seen him have a conversation with his mother is that time at the country club when he told her he was thinking of running for president, right? He's not that close with his parents. Have we ever, in Comic Corner Land, have we ever seen him have a real father son meeting, talk, interaction with his father Ted? I don't think we have. I really don't. Hmm. But he's with Vernon most of the time. Okay. So let me see. Is that all that's happened? Yeah, I honestly think that is it. Yep, that's it. That covered pretty much everything from BTG Beyond the Gates. Let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner, we have 8 comments. I'm going to breeze right through. Richard says, another great recap. Daily Recap Lady, another great review. Just Case says, it's good to catch DLR. I don't connect with Diego. Uh, he's what he said about Haley canceling her. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you didn't catch or you don't connect. Well, you didn't catch it when he said canceling her appointments at the country club. I wonder what she's doing. She isn't working. She isn't at the country club. What the heck is she doing besides shopping? The weakest link decides to meet with Haley. Oh, that's true, of the whole lawsuit. I'm not surprised. The ladies know better, yet they make stupid choices. Yes, they do. And they were paralegals. They know better. Lucy says, it's just a matter of time until big, tall Bill and his tiny child bride Haley's marriage hits the skids. And then uh, Tessia says if he's really sick of Danny doing if he's really sick, Danny's going to nurse him back to health. Yeah, but I think his episodes are going to come later because this is just the beginning. He's going to probably start having more and more, and he's going to shake it. He's going to hide it because he's Bill Hamilton, right? He's Bill. And then Black Purple Turquoise says Haley should definitely be cited for witness intimidation, if you ask me. But the more I'm seeing her, the more Becky annoys me. She's like the primary sellout. Yes, she is. And has already and was ready to settle for Bill's offer and would have had Naomi not been there, most likely. She needs to really step back, and assess whether or not she wants to continue with this lawsuit. And if she does, she really needs to stay out of Naomi's way and let her do her thing that she was born to do, and that's lawyering. The child bride of Bill needs to definitely keep her nose out of what does not concern her and stop pretending to care. And then Elaine says, these are some of the dumbest sexual harassment victims ever. And they're paralegals. Shall we say that again? They're paralegals. So they know the law, they know it. But yet, oh, I know. I'm with you on that. And I don't know, what do you feel, Comment Corner Land? Here's a poll. Do you feel this case will ever go to court? Do you feel we're going to see that? I don't know. If Beyond the Gates, if the writers want to be different, we're going to see it. We're going to see that takedown in court and who does the takedown. But if they want to play it safe, watch, something will happen and it settles out of court and it'll be like the biggest letdown. But anyway, everybody, that's it. That's it. I will be back tomorrow for another daily recap of Beyond the Gates.